Good morning. Thank you for joining me today in the first Elder Blip of 2021. We made it. Yay. Uh, and very excited to be talking to you today. And, this is the time of year where we start thinking about, or maybe you have already started taking Christmas decorations down. We did so at the church last Sunday, and it always amazes me how quickly decorations come down compared to when we put the decorations up. And thinking about that, and some of that is, there's a lot of excitement going into putting decorations up because it's prior to Christmas. We're looking forward to spending time with family, taking time off of work, and of course celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. But taking decorations down is a little bit different. Everything's behind us. Maybe we're going back to work or going back to normal, whatever normal means these days. Going back to work, kids are going back to school. So that excitement isn't quite there. And in fact, I've heard the term before, post-Christmas blues. I'm sure you have as well. So I was thinking about what to talk about for the Elder Blip here, and started thinking about what Mary and Joseph and Jesus went through shortly after Jesus' birth. And just wanted to read a passage here out of Matthew chapter 2. And this is verse 13. So, in a dream, Joseph heard, "Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child and to destroy him." And he rose, Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed to Egypt and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet. "Out of Egypt I called my son." So can you imagine having your firstborn child, a brand new child, life has changed for you already, to be told to leave because King Herod is searching for your child to destroy him? Can you imagine that feeling and just the stress? And not only does Joseph does not even wait for the next day. In the middle of the night, he wakes up Mary and Jesus and takes him and flees. So can you imagine the post-Christmas blues that they're seeing at this time? They had recently traveled to Bethlehem, and were visited by the three wise men, and are now told to leave and flee to Egypt. Things have not been normal for Mary and Joseph, or at least what they were used to or what they were expecting, and maybe things are like that for you. Maybe things aren't going quite as expected right now, and maybe that's contributing to maybe the post-Christmas blues. But Mary and Joseph had to flee, and fortunately, the wise men had visited recently. This is after the visit from the wise men, and moving to a new country, there needs to be funds and provisions, and fortunately, God provided for this. When the wise men visited, they had gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This was to provide for Joseph and his family during their time in Egypt. So, even though things aren't going as expected, the safest place for us to go, or the safest place for us to be is following, or is wherever God leads us to, right? And God led Joseph and Mary to Egypt, and he provided for them. So that's something that we need to remember moving forward out of this Christmas season, is to remember to listen to God and follow his lead. And so after Jesus' birth, a lot of terrible things were happening in Bethlehem around the time, and a lot of it was around King Herod. The wise men were forced to take a different route home because they were warned of King Herod's wrath. The children in Egypt, or not Egypt, the children of Bethlehem were being slaughtered because Herod was threatened by Jesus, even a baby Jesus, and then Mary and Joseph having to flee to Egypt. So just like I said, the safest place for us to be is wherever God leads us, and remember that God is in charge, and follow His lead. And even though the Christmas season is done, Nathan talked a couple weeks ago in his elder blip about hope. Don't let that hope settle, or don't downplay that hope. Try to continue to have that elevated hope that we have during the Christmas season throughout the year, because God is in control and God does provide for us, not just during the Christmas season, but throughout the year. So, even though the decorations come down, continue to praise the Lord, continue to take God's lead, and to have that same hope and hope in Jesus Christ that we feel throughout the year. So thank you for joining me this morning. Have a blessed week.